Let's see, that might be working. Check my phone thing. If it's working, we're good. But we gotta see first before I do anything. Okay, cool, we're up. Flight conditions. Live time. Save back. I can, you know, go into VR. That would be worth it. Whoa, whoa, what the fuck is this? My helicopter tab. Okay, whatever. Boeing Cowan. R22, configure. Hello, Robert. Hello from Georgia. Livery. We got big news today, Robert. Big news. Biggest news this stream has ever heard. As far as this stream. Fast as fuck, yeah. No, I do not have a new girlfriend. Sorry about that, I was cleaning the lens. I told you I was just going for back shots. VHRZO, I think so. Is that one down near a school near you? RZQ. On the ground, shut down. Let's do math. When I take a picture. Oh, you know the cool. Yeah, I wonder. I'm curious how they pick which ones to put in here. Because actually, that was a 407. We took that picture. Okay. Anyways, like I said, big news. If you haven't seen the Discord, or you are not Tom, I actually went and flew a helicopter today. Ta-da, that's the big news. It looks like it says RZQ. No, we were kind of parked facing this way because the fuel stand's right there. Let's get rid of that. Oh, we got the hottie in here today. Hell yeah, that ain't a lane. Yeah, this is RZQ. So anyways, yeah, I was coming home from doing a thing this morning, and I was like, you know what? Let's just go to the airport and call and see if they had anything going on. And he was doing an R44 flight, so I watched some of that from the parking lot, like right there. Then halfway through, I was like, okay, I'm hungry, let's go eat. So I went to go eat, came back, talked to the guy a little bit. Or the guy, the instructor. And, yeah, I was like, cool, I don't want to do a discovery flight. I want to, for lack of better terms, like, have a full lesson, but in the form of a discovery flight. So we ended up doing a 1.3 hour trip. But the one you really know is RZO. Okay. Hey, still cool. I did this red because it was the same color as the one I flew today. But, anyways, yeah, we did a flight. I'm going to kind of recreate that flight and talk about it. See, fuel valve is on. You look much better than Elaine. Let's see. Battery master. Strobe. Pull the fuel all the way rich. We don't mess with that. Got the throttle all the way down. Friction doesn't matter, actually. Can I turn up my friction? I want to turn up... Dang it, I don't have my tool near me. Oh well, I'll adjust that later. Anyway, something I noticed is that cyclic and everything was much heavier in the thing itself. Let's see, all that's on. Throttle's down. And I can't hear. Yeah, can I get rid of you? I'd rather get rid of you. There we go. Are you running? No, stay running. There we go. Now I can hear the engine. I was messing with the throttle trying to... Nope, turn off. You know what? Nope. I'm better than this. I couldn't hear the damn thing because the doors. But, anyways. No, I don't want you. Engine's running. Got oil pressure. Starter lights off. Alternator can go on. Clutch can go on. Kind of babysit the throttle a little bit. Go, stay. Check your DMEs. Yep, that's the one we're in. Red and gold. Yeah, I'm curious how they decided to pick which liveries and stuff. Temperatures are all good, so we really don't need to do any of that. And while today wasn't perfect for me, there's like... I'll talk about things that I saw that I didn't like. I'll talk about things that could have been better in my opinion. Anyways, it's there. She's a famous machine. Well, I think it says Ready Rolling on the front of it. Yeah, it has the scripting on it. Okay, anyway, so we took off. We were actually facing this way. Why did my thing wiggle? Because I'm sitting further forward, that's what it is. Okay, I won't change my seating position then. Oh no, I'm getting a call. Hello, sir. I'm streaming. What's up? Sir? Hello? Oh, I'm hanging up. Might have been an accident. Anyways, so yeah, we started out here. Obviously, he was doing everything first. I was just kind of riding along. So we took off from here. Actually, can I do traffic replay? I don't know. It might show us at some point. We'll see. Anyways, he took off from here, obviously, because he's the instructor. And the controls are so much lighter here. Holy shit. Anyways, and we came down this way. We're just going to avoid the 172 jumping in down here. Technically unnecessary to go around them like that, but you know. Which now that I'm like paying attention to it, it feels like I am moving the collective as much as I should be. But it's just the tension is so much more in real life. Anyway, came over here. There were some people kind of in the corner over here doing something. I don't know what. Also, we're relatively heavy right now because I put in what our weight was. Wind was coming from 270-ish. Or 290, I think. We came over here. And to preface, like I kind of went into the to the school thing. It was just him. He had just finished his flight. Let me turn the volume down a little bit for you guys. He had just finished his flight, and we started talking and chatting. It's like, yeah, I want to do this professionally, get out of film, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, I am doing helicopter online ground school. So I'm relatively up on lingo, and it's like, I know a lot of the stuff you're telling me you're going to do because you don't know what my level of knowledge is. But I'm going to listen fully and completely, and I'm not going to be afraid to ask any questions, because that would be extremely irresponsible. So anyways, we're sitting there talking more, and I was like, yeah, I want to do a discovery flight, but I want it to be more of a lesson. I don't want to have a discovery flight where it's a lesson, or not a lesson, but like a tour. I don't want to sit around and like go for a tour for 3 or 4 tenths or whatever, and then like get nothing out of the day except for like, ooh yeah, I should be a helicopter. I was like, I want to make it as much of a lesson as you can, but also kind of like a tour of how the helicopter works. And I was like, also don't be afraid to embarrass me. I would rather not be able to hover today and go home going, man, I really need to work on this, than not have the chance to fully try it and not know if I should or not, if that makes sense. Anyways, let me put this at field elevation. 3017. Yeah, good enough. Anyways, and then I was like, he's like, okay, yeah, we'll start doing the little hover things to start slowing you into that and saying, I was like, I don't know, I think I might be able to do a full hover. He's like, no, you couldn't. He's like, oh, you want to bet $1 on it? He's like, okay, yeah, I'll put $1 on it. We shook on it. He goes, wait a second, you don't have Flight Simulator, do you? And I was like, I may have a collective and cyclic and anti-torque pedals and everything, and I may have been practicing with the intent of learning how to hover. And he's like, I was like, okay. I was like, it's just $1 though, you know, no big deal. He's like, okay, cool, we'll see how it goes. And they actually have a, like the first generation Apache simulators R44 there, the same control setup that I have, but I don't think theirs is working, so I'm going to see if I can work a deal to get their simulator set up working for some monies or some flight time. But yeah, anyways, so we get down here and he does the usual thing of like, I'll pick up real quick. Or no, first thing we did, like we got here and he started picking up on the collective and he said, okay, cool. Now we're not off the ground, but we're starting to get light, but you can see if I move the collective and the cyclic a little bit, like we're controlling the helicopter, but we're on the ground. So he's like, when we go to pick up, you need to zero out all your inputs, that way you're not sliding and moving around. And do the slow pickup. And we get into the hover, and the first thing he did was, okay, cool, grab the pedals, and he's doing the cyclic and the collective. And he's like, okay, do us a pedal turn to the left. And I do a slow pedal turn to the left, very controlled like this. It's weird how uncanny this is. And then he did a slow pedal turn to the right. And he said, okay, then I do a full left circle. We did a full left circle, and I went a little bit slower than this. I was being very deliberate with it. And he said, okay, cool, next I'm going to let you do the collective. So I got the collective, and he said, okay, so I'm going to start down here, kind of in the ground effect hover. And we brought it up to like 10 feet or so. Held it. Came back down. And then we were actually more over here. Shuffle this way. I'm waiting to see my number pop up down there, the Martel number. Hello, Northland Air. Glad to see you here. So yeah, and then this was the hardest part, honestly. He's like, okay, now you have the cyclic. And of course, I start churning the butter and swimming and correcting. I'm like, okay, cool, I know we just need to hold it in one place and it'll smooth out or whatever. And I finally got it decent enough, but I could feel myself, because I'm still riding the pedals and riding the collective with them. And like, I could feel myself wanting to put in inputs because I'm already aware from using my setup here what the relationship to everything is. And don't take this as me floating my own boat whatsoever. I think it's just like what I'm interpreting what happened. I'm debriefing and processing everything. So he's like, okay, cool, well, let's slowly give you all three. And he slowly started releasing all of them. And once I had all three, I mean, I was just locked in here. Because he was like, cool, I'll give you $1 if you can hover for like 30 seconds within a 10-foot area. I mean, I had it locked in here, like, lack of better terms, like, this is what it was. He's like, okay, cool, I owe you $1 now. He's like, well, let's kind of turn left here and follow around the rim of the run-up area. So I did some nice slow hovering like this. And again, we had like a 5-knot wind coming from our right here. Did a nice turn. He said, okay, cool, and the next one, get down to the end, stop, and do a pedal turn. So I came down. I slowed down. Did a pedal turn. Came back this way. And with the doors off, like, you can definitely feel the crosswind coming through, so it was a unique feeling. So, okay, cool, let's kind of go back to where we started. And go out to the taxiway. And we're going to go up the taxiway back towards the, pads. So we come up here. And I look down, and there's a Cessna 172, kind of like that one, taxiing. But he was going the other way. So I'm doing a nice walking pace hover like this. And feeling the wind gust, because I can feel it kind of veining the back end that way a little bit. And this is as fresh of a replay as y'all are going to get. I literally did this like 4 or 5 hours ago. And around here I was like, you know what, I just realized that we're in a helicopter and not a car, so I can actually drive in the middle. He's like, yeah, that's the thing that we notice. A lot of people want to stay to one side because they're just used to driving on one side of the road. So I transition up the middle, and he's like, okay, cool, you can pick up the pace just a little bit if you want to. So we have like a jogging pace hover taxi coming back up the ramp. Also, if anybody's in here and they're unaware, I actually went and did an intro flight today for Helicopters for the Real Thing. And my countless hours of hovering in the sim made it where as soon as I had full control of the controls or whatever, all three, I was able to hover, so my sim's technically paid for itself as far as the reason I bought this was to learn how to hover. And I can hover, so the sim's done. We're no more simulatoring. We're done. It's paid for itself. But yeah, at this point somewhere he was hands off controls completely, and he had grabbed his phone to check for flight to confirm something or whatever. Anyway, so he trusted me enough to be doing a low, slow hover. He popped on, did a radio call. Henry County Traffic, this is Helicopter 420 Foxtrot Whiskey. We're going to be taking off from runway 24 from taxiway Alpha 3, which this is Alpha 3. And we get out, and this was the part where he took over here. Can you ship the sim to me then? I still got to fly around the world. That series has to go. We got to do it. I'm not giving up on it. So anyways, he had the controls here. And something that I did not expect was the amount of forward pressure. Because right here, like, I'm barely leaning into it. But the amount of forward pressure here. And he would wait till we got to like 50, 55 knots. And it felt low to me. I'm sure we had some space left. But it was just me being unfamiliar with the controls and what it was like. It was, that was like a weird thing to get used to, just because like, it's like I'm not going to hop in somebody's car and floor it the first time, you know. Anyways, we get up here, start working a light traffic pattern, just to kind of go out here and explore a little bit. And I don't remember exactly where we went. Of course, you can re-look up the flight. We got to 1500-ish. Of course, I'm checking my phone here. But he was talking about trim strings here, I think. So I'm like, okay, cool. Like here, you see the strings are that way, so we correct that with right pedal. We gotta fly straight. It'd be better fuel efficiency. Blah 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 blah. Whatever. So really, kind of feeling how the trim strings feel. And I was going slower. I mean, I'm doing 80 here because I don't have the feeling of being outside, but with the doors off, it's windy. So anyways, as we start, yep, I remember seeing this thing, so I think we went further this way, actually. Because I remember that neighborhood field. What's this girl's name, guys? We need a name for the Cowan Sims R22 girl. Anyways, we start a left turn. And at this point, I think I'm full on the controls. Because he kind of did the initial takeoff and, like, straight flight demonstration, you know, like making sure it's all how it should be, or whatever. Lucy, where'd that come from? Well, also, in case Georgia plane spotting pops in, Stone Mountain is very visible from here today. Also, Pine Mountain is very, very visible from here. We're at 1,500 feet. Or we're at 1,700 right now. We're at 1,500 in the real thing. And he did a call for traffic, let people know that we were down here about 1.5 miles south. Ethel Meemaw. She's a baddie. Look, her hair may be white, but that's because she's bleach blonde. China. So anyways, we come over here, we start doing more of a left downwind type thing. We're going to go over there next. And we kill some altitude here. Oh, now you spell it white girl way, Chyna. And we did a little Bonnie. Bonnie's not bad. This way for a little Kaylee. So we start coming this way. We'll be left of this tower up here, but we kind of did like a little orbit of the of here. And I slowed down a good bit here, like 50, 45 knots airspeed. And I was like, oof, I slowed down a lot there. He's like, yeah, I was watching it. And I was like, God forbid I look at a sight every once in a while. I've got to keep my eyes outside a good bit. And he's like, yeah, people have to, they kind of get used to being in the air and seeing stuff. And once you kind of get used to being in the air and seeing everything from up here, especially with the doors off view in the 22, which is fantastic. I think it's much easier to keep your eyes outside. Although one thing, at one point, I was starting to pull a good bit of manifold pressure under cruise. So that's one thing I need to bring my eyes inside more, but I think that's also somewhat to blame for me just flying for the first fucking time and looking outside. So I need to be aware of my manifold pressure under cruise. Turn. here. Start working the left traffic. I think we're about this far out. We may have been slightly closer in. Oh yeah, flying with my eyes outside is good, but I definitely got lost in the sauce a couple of times, if that makes sense. Where it's like, okay, cool, yeah, I'm glad I'm flying outside and looking at what I'm doing and not glued to the gauges, because I wasn't terrified. Like, I understand how it works. Okay, this is the neighborhoods we went around here. It's like I understood how it worked. I didn't need to be constantly glued to it. But also, I needed to pay slightly bit more. If you can still fly with your eyes purely outside, you can't fly with your eyes purely outside, you shouldn't be a pilot. Yeah, true. We did our base turn here, and I think at this point he was taking over. Or he wanted to show me like the proper approach or whatever, and I just kind of rode along. And we're going like a good 10 to 15 knots faster now than we were earlier on the day. But yeah, I was definitely able to keep my eyes outside. I think a lot of that was attributed to me understanding how it all worked. But I don't want to say I was getting complacent. But I also felt like I may have mildly been complacent just because I knew enough to be dangerous, but I didn't, or the Dunning-Kruger effect, you know, like there's a bell curve. Where it's like, cool, you may know enough, but you don't know enough to know that you don't know anything, if that makes sense. The Dunning-Kruger effect. No, we didn't kiss. That was all for the Latina this morning. And he came down here, he hit his 1,000-foot mark. And he was like, okay, cool, on the control, let's get going. So I was just like slightly pushing forward, and I was like, okay, cool, I know I'll have enough speed to do it eventually, but he was like, okay, cool, let's throw some speed at it, and he was low, which felt cool, you know, I'm not gonna lie, but I'm not at that point because I don't have the time. Like just a little slight pullback with the cyclic, and that pops us up. Also, my throttle travels a pretty good bit for this thing. The throttle travels much shorter than I expected. Also, throttle was a lot tighter than I expected. He was like, okay, cool, use 2 fingers. And I'm like, putting a good bit of force on it. I'm like, fuck, this just doesn't seem like it's moving. I actually had to like grip around the throttle and move it to get it to do anything. So anyways, then we came up here. We got to 1,500-ish feet again. He said, see that field over there with a stripe? I said, yeah, I see that field over there with a stripe. He said, cool, aim for that field over there with a stripe. So we did a nice slow turn since we were just cruising. Attention passengers, we'll take off after I place my eyes in front of the windshield. But then again, like, also I don't know how tight the throttle was compared to anything else, because the one that's on my controls here is super, super loose. So my frame of reference, I don't want to say it's broken, but my frame of reference is like the world's loosest controls, because that's what I've put 500 fucking hours on. So maybe it's a normal tightness. Anyways, he said, okay, cool, you see this field over here? This one here? He said, we're going to land in it because it's people that own this unimproved runway. So I said, okay, cool, we do a high recon? He said, yeah, let's do a right orbit high recon. And he's like, we'll go over more about unimproved area passes in the future, but he's like, I do it by the S's. But we didn't go over any of that. He's like, we know it. I fly in here regularly. I know it's got no obstructions. I know it's got flat ground. I know what the approaches are. I know what the exits are. He's like, I'll go over all that stuff eventually, or the other pilot will. Oh yeah, we're doing a recon pass. We weren't lining up for a downwind yet. Yeah, it might have been dirt bike type, but like I said, I was expecting like me moving it, like grabbing your ball sack and not hurting it sort of tightness. Like tickling tightness is what I'm used to here. Anyway, so we did a orbit of this one. So cool, after this orbit, extend the downwind. You know what direction we're coming in because you know the wind's coming from that direction. I said, okay. We can do that, boss. And he's like, of course, and lose altitude appropriately because we're trying to avoid steep approaches. If we can safely do a shallower approach, we'll safely do a shallower approach. Came out over here, turned on this little pond in the river. It's amazing how much I'm remembering from where we went. It's nice I'm going to have this documented too in this. I was going to bring a GoPro for my first flight, but it was such on a whim today where it's like I was driving by and I called. And it just happened to work out. And honestly, I am so much more than pleased with how it went. We can lose a lot more altitude and a lot more speed. But I feel like I was doing the same thing anyways in real life. He's like, make sure you stay towards the middle field. I was hugging right. He's like, stay towards the middle. You know, we got rotors coming out 15 to 20 feet on either side, so we want it to be as middle of this as we can. And he's like, I want to end down in the lower third of the field, so that way we can use all of the approach that we can. So really around here is where I got into. He's like, okay, cool, let's work down here, slow down, turn around, and we'll go back to the other side of the field and do a pedal turn and come around. So I came to a stop. Did a nice slow pedal turn. Because we are not in the zero repercussion machine in real life. We have to worry about crashing. Here I crashed, no big deal. Real life we crashed, big deal. A nice low hover. I did see him move to cover the controls at one point, kind of like halfway through the field. But it's because I've gotten so used to hovering low that when the wind caught me, I kind of had a bit of a wiggle. But I saw him kind of reach for a cover, but then by the time he had already reached, I was adding a little bit more collective to it to bring us to like a 5-foot hover taxi instead. So we get down here, he said, okay, and just remember that we have a long tail and a tail rotor behind us, so we can't go all the way to the edge of the woods to turn around. So we get down here. I come to a stop, because we were already in the middle. Come to a stop in a little slightly bigger weed area. Ooh, it's laggy because we're so near all this shit. Anyways, we get back this way. And again, he was helping push forward, I feel. But I think it's just because I'm not used to how much force it was actually necessary to push forward with. We get down here. We pop up and out. Slowly gaining our altitude back. Yeah, I was super pleased, solid as it was. It felt like he was very calm with me, which I know that must be a hard thing to do, being an instructor. Because obviously there are some people who have never tried it before, so they're probably super, super wiggly with everything, and you know, there's probably a lot that makes it fucking stressful. But also, people have different teaching styles, you know? So, either way, he was very calm. He seemed very comfortable with me flying, which I'm happy about. I never really did anything other than, like I said, that one time where we were closer to the ground back there in the confined area. But that was something I realized myself around here, where he was like, okay, cool, slow down a bit because we're pulling a bit too much manifold. So, okay, cool. Our limit was like 22.5 or 22.6 operational for full continuous, and then 23.7 or 23.5 or something for the 5-minute allowance. Down here, there's a little tower that he said he aims for the downwinds, but I don't see it in the game. It was very short tower, like barely higher than tree height, so whatever. Australian altitude? I don't know, we'll see. I was also up at like 8 o'clock this morning, so we're definitely not going to be on long, that's for sure. Come out here, start turning with the road, and I think this is where he said he wanted to do an auto to show me, so we'll do an auto as well. Okay, doing an auto. Oh, and I forgot we didn't do a full down. I was replaying in my head. We didn't do a full down. We did a recovered auto. But just imagine we did a recovered auto. Let's see. We did another takeoff. Looking at my phone again. Don't mind me, guys. Came out this way, I believe. So we're going north, yeah, that sounds right. Yeah, it was very chill, very relaxed. Like I said, the biggest thing that was, I don't even want to say questionable. It was just like, the thing that surprised me the most was how heavy the controls were. Because like I said, I'm playing with like, I'm moving this around my pointer finger and thumb. And I'm not even squeezing, and I can do like full manipulation of it. So it's like, I can do that with that super easily. So having a super heavy thing to push into was weirdish. Also, the helicopter's more cramped than what my setup is here. I'm in a very relaxed sitting space state. So it was definitely heavier than I expected. Pedals were kind of catchy, but I think that more had to do with me just not being, like, I play with my socks right now. Just because it's easier for my feet to slide on the little metal bars, because my pedals look basically like this, except all the both vertical things are in the middle. So part of that was me being used to shoes on it. Also me being a full-size grown adult who's 6'2". I have a decent sized foot. It's not a huge foot, but it's a decent sized foot. And the width of my foot. Also, I don't say I had to fight the collective down when we were doing an approach or descending, but I had to push down more than I expected. So there was that. See, harder to lose altitude than I expected. Floaty, you know. And again, like if you know how the helicopter works, we have that rotor above us and behind us a little bit. And it really does feel like somebody's grabbed you by like the back of your shirt collar and you're just kind of floating along by that. Like that's my best way to explain it, really. See, and then here, we'll follow this one in our final. And he was like, okay, cool, we're going to turn final, so go and turn right, set yourself up. And he was talking about, you see the trees moving past you, you see the clouds moving above you, but you want to keep your point of approach at the same spot. And I was like, okay, cool, makes sense. And I did my turn here, but I was expecting it to be like kind of middle of this neighborhood, so did a slight overshoot here. I was like, oop, lined that one up wrong because I was expecting the wrong spot. I was like, okay, cool, yeah, no big deal. You like just work your way back over to the right and correct in, which I did. We were aiming for the 1,000-foot mark, and I was like, okay, yeah, we're definitely on the higher side right now, because I'm, like I said, not used to the collective. That was on me. I don't say on me, I mean, it obviously was on me, because I was the right seat person here. I was like, yeah, I wasn't used to the cyclic, or not, well, obviously I wasn't used to the collective being something that was so fighty to get me down. The helicopter wants to fly, is what it feels like to me. It's like, you fucking move the collective a little bit, it wants to go somewhere, even with full weight. And I was coming in a bit high because I didn't know we were going to finish up at this point. It had already been like it was a 1.3 flight, so it was definitely more than a discovery. But I'm super fucking pleased with it. And we come down here and I can tell he's watching because he doesn't want me to get to a descending thing. So, okay, go ahead and start putting in your collective and work on leveling her out. And I got it into a hover about here. I said, okay, cool, go ahead and bring her down to like our lower standard whatever hover. An in-ground effect hover. So I got her down here. I said, okay, cool, see the orange helicopter park over there, the 44? And he said, go ahead and point that way. We're going to go about 2 spots to the left of it. So I did a pedal turn. And went over, and I think it was the same spot that we started our around the world journey in also. And then from here, he took over. Because obviously, like, you're not going to let somebody do the pickup or set down on day 1, regardless. Which, okay, cool. You know, I'm not fucking... I don't want to say angry or upset or whatever of, but, came in. A little H on the ground. And he put it down there. And then we went through shutdown procedure and everything. But yeah, that was literally exactly a replay of our of my first ever time piloting a helicopter. I mean, literally exactly what my flight was. So very, very pleased with how it went. I think he was happy too. I was like, okay, cool, well there's... I can't do, I can't do everything right now just because of, I'm not working with the film industry currently. So it's like, I'm not going to be able to, block pay or get into it or whatever. It's like, but, you know, I'm going to come back, like, once every couple of weeks right now just to keep myself fresh. Hour here, hour there. But it's like, once I start working, expect me to be here for 10 hours a week, you know, like multiple 2-hour shifts during the day. On days that I'm off, obviously. Yeah, that was my flight. Also, we can see it has the red girl there. Yeah, that was my flight in their buildings, like right here. So I went in and closed up, signed up the logbook, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. Thank you, Walker. Good instructor for the day. Couldn't have asked for a better intro flight, honestly. Like, I don't want to say, ooh, we did what I wanted to do, but like I said, I didn't want to have a tour for a first flight. Or like a, cool, look, this is a helicopter, look at it, it hovers. Guess what? You can't hover, you need classes. Like, I didn't want the typical, whatever, you know, with the standard every man's discovery flight. Yeah, they do have places to put them inside, but for the most part, they live outside. Weather's pretty decent here. How long is the stream? But I'm curious how long that was. 54 minutes? Yeah, so we were about on time. I was flying much faster with this. So that times out to be about right. So yeah, very, very enthused. Had a couple of people message me while we were doing things, so Yeah, thank you, Robert. Yeah, well, there's a lack of hangar space here. I mean, there are hangars, but they're all rented out. They just need to build more hangars. They do have cover under some of these for some stuff. All these hangars over here are rented out, though. But yeah, so that was my first flight. If you get on Flight Radar 24 and you go to Henry County Airport or Atlanta Motor Speedway Airport here, KHMP, and you look at the 2130 UTC or 2128 or something like that, somewhere in there. That's me. That was my flight. You can see, I mean, that's bone for bone the course that we took today. Very happy with that. Very enthused. Called all my good homies and they're like, dude, we're so fucking happy for you. That's so sick. So it's a nice thing to have a cool support group. I was going to keep it a secret from my father and just be like, hey, look, I got a pilot's license. But I would much rather spend the next couple of months talking about it with him and having fun talking about it with him than not saying anything and then having like 10 minutes of a, hey, I got you, surprise sort of thing. You know? So even though it would be a neat surprise to just not... just to not tell him and be like, hey, I got a helicopter license, let's go for a ride. I would much rather enjoying the process with him being a part of it. So yeah, that's that. That was my that was the big news for today. That was, like I said, almost an exact play-by-play thing. We just went a bit faster because it's easy to speed in the helicopter in the game because you don't have wind bushing all over you. Also on my final approach, either my final approach or it might have been his auto rotation approach, but the little foam piece went because I looked right and it just caught the wind stream enough and it went shoop and got sucked out the window or out the door. Also, why is it not showing my helicopters here? Or not showing helicopters as a thing? Let's see what's neat here. Do I get a new thing as a toy? As a gift? Type, helicopter. Apache, don't care. 117. Cool, but it's super cheap, so I don't trust it. Everything's on sale right now. Usually 20 bucks. From MS Scenery. 105. I would like to try the 105, but I just don't care that much. R22. Already got it. S300 would be cool. Waiting for the Black Hawk to become a thing. And they have a 47 G as well in inventory. That thing's ugly as fuck. .315 is super cool. Anyways. Yeah, the little foam piece that like covers your microphone so it's just not the whole time. The little wind cover. Yeah, that was my flight today. Wanted to hop on for you guys because y'all are love it or hate it, you're a big part of my life right now because I do this every night-ish. Most nights. Sometimes. So I wanted to share that with you guys. But also I'm super tired, so I don't know if I want to do too much more. The Swiss Alps are not Swiss, but the Alps down here are fucking big. Also, I had no idea your capital city was here. Huge crazy. Look how unassuming this town looks. Got this crazy government parliament center here. Do they land shit out here? I feel like they would land a helicopter somewhere out here. Kind of air hospital. Robert, thank you for being here, as always. We will see you on the next one. I'll have the Hispanic girl trying to pronounce Australian town names up here this morning. Trying to get her on, like, Toowoomba. She got Cairns right, though, so props to her. Cairns. It looks like Cairns. You can't say it doesn't look like Cairns. Like, why are those other letters in there? C-A-I-R. That's definitely Cairns in English. Canberra tour? Let's start out here and go to it. That way we can up and over some shit. I'm going to do a 206. Because I want to keep the counter rotating thing going on right now. Or not counter, but the that direction blade travel. To the left, to the left. Can brew. Can brew, really? Okay. But yeah, I want to stay kind of in the underslung two-blade rotor system that's moving counterclockwise. I'm going to kind of keep that mentality right now while I'm still in the zone. Ready to fly. Shift C, get us in here. That's there. Battery on. Horn is silent. Don't talk to me. Position lights off. Anti-collision on. Those are all in. Throttle is down. You can hit the starter there now. Looking for 15 on the N1, which is a key. Clicked up to idle. Bruh. Canberra. That's a can brew. Generator, avionics, pitot heat, and position lights. Slowly rolling the throttle up. I think I said brew because I've watched the that dude that works, or like friends with Casey Neistat, works with Mr. Beast. The Australian, like, guerrilla filmmaker guy. And his whole thing's Brew, B-R-U. Okay. Let's see. Give or take, same thing. We're going to be left pedal heavy. Looking good everywhere. We're going to be kind of going straight ahead here. Going up on the collective. No idea which way the wind's going, nor do I care. No, we're doing the wind. Perfect. Off to Canberra we go. Got some mountains up this way. Hey, Southern Coast looks pretty decent too. What a difference compared to what we're flying through right now. Dude, yesterday I did wherever we finished, whatever, to Birdsville, and then we were going to go straight up to Alice Springs. But I landed in Birdsville, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to swap helicopters. And as I was sitting on the ground, the stream ended. I looked back down, I was like, oh, cool, my stream stopped. So I figured I could just refresh page. Like, no, the stream ended. So luckily we were on the ground, but we made it to Birdsville yesterday. But I was going to push straight up to Alice Springs. We got more power to give and a lot more speed to play with. Yeah, I'm dude, it's literally just over the fucking desert. Like, there's nothing. I would like to use the 145 or the 160 and autopilot it, which I was going to do yesterday since you weren't watching. But honestly, it'll either be... I did the 125. Did I do the 125 or 160 yesterday? Or 130 yesterday? I think I did the 125 yesterday. So for that leg, since you'll probably be watching, yeah, it's definitely on the limit for fuel. Potential for the 160, or we play the ferry tank rule to where we say, like, okay, cool, I can add a quarter tank of gas at an appropriate time. Oh. Screen's freezing, screen's going crazy. I'm not moving. There we go. Locked in again. Thank you, Bill. Yeah, it's definitely on the limits for fuel. It's ride or die, boys. Yeah, like I said, I don't mind playing the ferry tank rule. That's something that I knew would be a thing. I don't say eventually. But I knew there would be places throughout the series. Where fuel would be an issue, so if you're going around the world anyways, then you probably have the ability to ferry tank. So I'm not against considering us having a fuel bladder, you know. After you land, can you have a look at ranges on that flight path thing, and I'll look at what the wind's... Okay, yeah, we'll do that. Also, now that I've flown the 22, I'm definitely curious about how much more stable the 44 feels in comparison. I bet it, I don't want to say it's significant, but I bet it's a lot better. Because the 22, I could definitely feel every little gust move us around. Dun, 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 dun. Side mission. Means 32 knots. Means 32 knots goes to 20. 30 knots in favor? Are we talking about tomorrow? Okay, Bill, get the fucking light bulb ready. I won't say these towers terrify me, but like I have no idea what the hitbox is. So I don't know if I can like touch them and boop off of them. Thank you, Bill. Off to Canberra. Hey, wind's in favor, not bad. I like to see that. Any other towers that need a light bulb changed along the way? We'll get you. Old Bill here, well, even if the light bulb works, we'll spit shine that motherfucker. He'll wear sunglasses while doing it. Oh, something that I did not know that I needed, that I need. I went down the Sam Eckel YouTube rabbit hole last night, which is the dude that does like, he's basically Air Force or Air Reserve or whatever, propaganda. He's the dude that goes around like rides with the C-17s and shit like that. He rode with the B-52 people, and he showed the mask, the auto-dimming mask that is necessary for dropping a nuclear bomb because it will blind you when it goes off. So if you look up B-52 bomber nuclear bomb mask, those things look so fucking cool. It's like a new age skull welding mask mixed with a scuba mask that's on a flip down setup for your face. And they look so fucking like utopian demonic, and it's so fucking cool. I want one so bad. I put a $2,000 bounty into my friends group that says anyway I can find me one, I'll fucking pay for it. I don't need it. I do need it. If not, I may have to like 3D print one or something. They look so fucking cool. But yeah, the B-52 bomber nuclear detonation face shield mask. Look it up. Yeah, dude, it's fucking wild. Like, it looks so fucking cool. You done seen it. Yeah, I need me one. Desperately. How do they just like casually come up with the coolest looking fucking face mask in existence? The older ones look decent too. They were round goggled. But the newer ones that are more kind of triangulated like a scuba mask, very cool. Big fan. Yeah, I'm also very happy that I told my dad about this. Because like I said, we kind of share the aviation love. He's an old fixed-wing general aviation pilot. And so we always talk planes and shit like that. And like we were always sending each other links or shares or screenshots from flight radar of things that we see. So like I said, I was going to keep it from him because you always see those things like, oh, I secretly got my pilot's license and didn't tell anybody. And I was kind of thinking about wanting to do that. Which, I mean, don't get me wrong, like, it'd be a cool video for multi-shot Matt. And honestly, it would be probably a decently viewed one, because all the I got a whatever license and secret videos seem to do pretty good. But I don't want to say I don't want to extort a moment like that for views. I'm going to be much happier in the long run. Good night, Sean. Safe sleep to you and Mrs. Boleyn. Yeah, I would much rather enjoy the process of going through this with him and talking about like the similarities back when he got his license, and I feel like that will be much more enjoyable. I'd much rather have 40 hours of flight plus a couple of months of that, of talking with him and chatting and him coming out to watch me during like my first solo and stuff. Like, I would so much rather have that. Any day of the week. I would give anything for that. Rather than me just showing me like, hey, I did all this stuff without telling you. You know, I think it means a lot more too. So maybe one day he'll rewatch this and he'll be super happy and tear up and remember that I'm his favorite son. Either way, it's it was fun. It was a good day today. Isn't that right, Bill? Weird, I wonder why I'm getting back to the shaky stuff, because I got the I got that new little Wi-Fi router just to prevent this shaky shit from happening. Which I'm reaching for that now, trying to check the status on it. It's good. But yeah, things I'm looking forward to though. I'm looking forward to faster taxiing, to doing a quick stop. Because right now, like I said, I was keeping everything super as soft and as mild as you possibly can. Because it was my first time wiggling the sticks in real life. Like I'm familiar with all the feel thing, but then again, also a real thing, and I know that Sim's not a one-to-one recreation of that. So I was being super easy with everything. All my slowdowns and stops were where they needed to be, but they weren't like speeding and then getting there and slowing down. So I look forward to faster taxiing. Not because I'm bored doing the low-speed taxi, but because being in that just around transitional lift to being in range I want to get a handle on. Same thing with starting out on the runway, or just whatever acceleration from a dead stop. I'm very sure I could today, like especially on the runway, like I'm very sure I could have pushed forward and got us enough speed to get up, but he was hammering on the gas, if you want to say that. He was deep in the push forward, hard, lean forward, really getting the speed quickly and getting a good pop up to get the climb going. Yeah, you got to do that. You can also do it super slowly and gradually. So I look forward to doing that as well, because I would like to work on the leaning forward, anti-torquing with the pedals while it's going through ETL. Like I said, it required a lot more push forward with the cyclic than I was expecting, so either way, those are the big things I'm looking forward to now. It's just basically being near the ground but going a bit faster, kind of like air taxiing instead of hover taxiing. And then of course the takeoff and the takeoff roll. My approaches, I felt like they were decent for the two that I did. Although it was slightly harder losing altitude than I expected. That's just a thing of cool. The collective fights you up a little bit. And also, guess what? Helicopters want to fly, so they kind of float down instead of going down as you lower the collective. You know, they want to keep a little bit of altitude and stuff. So that's just a learning characteristics thing, as far as my brain's thinking, or what I'm dissecting. Things that I noticed, because he said today on the first outing, he's like, I don't care about performance, I don't care if you're the best stick in the world. The best stick in the world. I don't care if you nail hovering, I don't care if something happens and I have a heart attack and you do an auto and you land it perfectly in the spot. He's like, I don't care. He's like, what I'm looking for today is that you're okay flying, you're able to loosen up and be, free in the helicopter here. That you're not scared, that there's some comprehension of what's going on. Because it's like, at the end of the day, my job as a teacher is to take people who are very well prepared and make them a pilot, or people who are very underprepared and get them to where they need to be and make them a pilot. So he's like, where you're starting at does not matter for today for the intro flight lesson 1 thing. He's like, at the end of the day, everybody's going to be taught the same things, because at the end of the day, you need to teach everything. Even if somebody already knows something, you need to make sure that it's said. And he's like, everybody's going to learn one day or the other. So get out there, make sure that I'm comfortable, make sure that I'm happy, make sure I'm not just a bad fit for it. And that's what we did. And I think with that being said, he was not going to nitpick anything I did, I don't think he was going to... It's like, okay, cool, things we did today was this, 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 and this, and the debrief thinks you need to work on this, 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 and this. Today was just to get out there and see how you did. But me, being analytical like I am, I was watching for him when he was reaching to cover the controls, when something wouldn't go right. Like I said, hovering low in the... we are 31 nautical miles. We can speed it up if we want to. We can do the fast forward thing since we're not doing the around the world bit, where we're going double speed now, which means double the input. Now, even though it says we're going 115, we're actually doing like 200. Or we can go normal speed. So now we're already 29. If you would like faster, I can give faster, but I figured we'd fly over some of the mountains. But yeah, so I know he wasn't going to give me a report card today. I wasn't looking for that. But I was looking for what his inputs and his body language was, and things that he said or did or whatever, you know, like go fast. I was looking for all that stuff because me, being who I am, like, I want to be better. And like, as much as me putting this much effort into doing flight sim is about being as close to the 40 hours as possible to save money and in the process of getting my license. I also want to be the best that I can be. You know, it's I won't say it's a weird thing, but it's like, I don't think it's an irresponsible thing to want to be the best pilot that you can be. Especially when it depends on yours at one point, whether you're flying with somebody, around somebody, delivering somebody to a hospital, picking somebody up, helping somebody work, you know, whatever it is, you know. I want to be the best pilot possible. So, even if today wasn't about getting the 40 hours done as quickly as I needed to, I was still very much watching his body language and things he did. Because that way I could take mental notes on things that I need to look at and improve on, you know. Eyes outside, but BRB. Yeah, eyes outside, obviously, but with that, obviously, take notes about what's happening, what I'm doing, how it's reacting, how I believe it should, how it's not reacting how I believe it should, etc. And I'll go back next time and be better. I don't plan on going back anytime and not having worked on the sim to improve stuff. Just like that whole flight that we did first thing, retracing the steps. I'm sure some of you enjoyed watching, but that was for me. Thought I would tell you that was for me. Ooh, there's a bridge right here. Let's see if it's a go-underable bridge. Yeah, that whole replay was, that was for me. Because I knew there were things and places where I saw something where, like I said, he was covering the controls, or he mentioned, like, hey, manifold pressure's kind of high, let's lower the collective and bring that down. That's all stuff I was looking for, because I know I can grow from it. I know me having my head inside just a little bit more will keep me from getting the manifold pressure high, which I don't want to say it doesn't matter in a 22 or a 44, but I mean, you can pull stupid amounts of manifold pressure. You're not going to break anything as long as you're like easily working your way up into it. If you over torque an engine like this in a turbine engine, though, big trouble. Big trouble. I don't know if this one's fly underable. We're sure shit gonna give it a shot, boys. I have to hug right, bank left. A lot of trees in the area. Hey, what up? And we got some power lines right here we're going to make sure that we're going to be going over. I know they don't exist here in the game, but we're going to treat them as such. Yeah, I hope that makes sense. No, it's, like I said, today was a feel it out, see how I like it, but also like get to learn and see like the stuff that there is to learn and figure out. And even though it was still a discovery flight at the end of the day, I still took notes. Didn't write anything down because I was super unprepared today. It was so on a whim to go out there and do this. Yeah, I took mental notes. I remembered places where I saw him covering controls. I remember places where I heard him say things or do things. I took mental note of all the radio calls he was doing for when we were crossing pattern areas. If I'm paying $400 an hour to do something, I am damn well going to get every single benefit out of it that I can. And while I know I'm slightly ahead of the curve, being able to hover, at least for now, you know, who knows, maybe it was just a lucky, cocky thing. But I'm just going to assume, let's just say that puts me 10 hours ahead. You know, hovering-wise, I'm a 10-hour student. Everything else, I'm still a 0-hour student. But that puts me 10 hours ahead of practice on hover practice. Which means I can, you know, take time and work on other stuff. Work on the approaches and getting those stabilized and making sure my turns are all hitting perfectly. The trimming out, flying seemed alright as far as trimming in with the pedals. You know, it wasn't bad. See, like here, what runway is this? That's runway 34. Here he would have been like, at least where we were, Henry County traffic. This is helicopter 420 Foxtrot Whiskey. We are 2 miles south, or 1 mile south of the field, operating at 1,500 feet for runway. What's the opposite of 34? 16. Henry County traffic. So whenever we were crossing from where people would be taking off, mentioning, hey, we're out here. And whenever I would hear a call, I would purposefully look to where these things said they were, and I would make sure I could visually see the traffic. We were never anywhere near one. There was one that was like coming behind us up to the right and going behind us. I never saw it. They said they had us inside, but we were going the opposite direction they were. So they started way behind us, coming from out of our area and going that direction. So never saw them, but this was all stuff that I was looking for, you know, like we were never near it, but I wanted to see, I wanted to start teaching myself how to see the airplanes from the sky, you know, how easy or how hard or how tricky is it to start making contact with other stuff that you see. Let's hit an auto real quick while we're waiting on Timothy. So we have the throttle all the way down. Kind of bumpy here, isn't it? Again, I was going to try to recover the auto. I was like, it's just more worth it to set it down softly. Good. Yeah, there's a lot of fucking shit around. It could have ended badly. Why are you so high? Oh, the governor was not on. There is no governor, but like my governor's switch has an effect here, so. There we go, got our rotor speed right. A little bit of a mechanical boost to get things flowing correctly, but you know, no big deal. You know, no big deal. Fly under these, over those little ones. Pads around here, and dumb. Well, we're gonna make some helipads, boys. I don't know about you, but we're gonna make some helipads. We're gonna land on Parliament's doorstep. Big green circle, which has trees in it. Wanted to land in the middle. There's floating shit down there I need to be aware of. Down real quick. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, back in it. Let's see this now real quick. Work some low hovers. We were hovering higher than I expected. He wanted like a 3 to 5 foot hover. Which I would all be like, oh, that's so much lower than I've been practicing, but I've been, most of my goofing around and stuff, I do a pretty low hover. Which I know I've said a million times, but I treat this whole simulator like a learning tool, but also a zero repercussion machine. So I can fail a million times and only get better from it if I take the lessons appropriately. Like, I almost wish this was easier to simulate dynamic rollovers, because like right there I was dragging the skid sideways. And usually the skid would grab some sort of traction and tip you over sideways. So there is a mod And that would make dynamic rollover more of a thing. That'd be sick. Right here I'm on the right skid. Like that right there obviously would have fucking sent me. Honestly, like, I don't say today changed me. I enjoy hovering a lot, honestly. It's like such a feeling to be locked in and where it's just like the littlest movements. I mean, like, guys, I'm barely moving here. Like I said, when he was doing the pedals and everything, I'm sitting over here trying to keep us in the same. Right now, I'm not touching the pedals or collecting. I'm just kind of letting them sit. But I'm also trying to hold. I'm just tapping the pedals. You know, I'm not doing constant input. But like it's so much harder to keep it in the same spot versus when I lock into all three, like right now. And I'm holding like a 1 foot hover right here. I don't know, it's just different. That, like I said, the biggest part that I struggled with was at the beginning, hovering wise, was when I was only doing the cyclic and he was running the collective and the pedals for me. Which that's the standard instructor way of teaching people, so I'm not going to go like, ooh, that was the wrong way or the right way. I think this is a pool right here. That doesn't stop me from touching down it. So yeah, like that's obviously the way to teach people to slowly bring them in, but I feel like you have to be so in tune with your pedals and collective, even though like I said, I'm barely moving my cyclic. I mean, it's like quarter millimeters are making me do that swing right there, which I'm really having to focus on swinging. Like it's harder for me to fly off than it is for me to sit in what I would consider a pretty stable hover. Which I know I'm not perfect right now, but there's slight wind and stuff like that that's in the game that will affect. And either way, so much different. Get over this building. We'll do a slow taxi on this little tree path. I'll do an AEL approach in here though. I say AEL is Air Evac Life Team, and I just know they have a steep approach rule, so I'll do a steep approach into here. Welcome back, Tom. We've just been slow hovering around the Parliament lawn and reflecting on the day. I was talking about how mentally for me it was much easier to hover or to maintain cyclic control when I had pedal and collective too, which I'm sure somebody starting out that would be very hard, or it wouldn't make sense. But for me, because I'm already used to what the relationship between all of them are, I'm gonna do it again here. which I'm not touching my collective now. I'm just kind of like leaving my pedals generally set. I may tap them. But just using the cyclic to stay still, it's much harder, and I have to focus a lot more to keep us still. But when I am locked into all three, like right now, I've got to collect it back. Like, it's much easier for me to stay stable. So when I was churning butter at the beginning of the day, you know, and doing this whole thing with the cyclic, I mean, as soon as he gave me all three controls, I mean, it was like an immediate, like, oh, okay, cool. Like here, I'm in the familiar spot of having all three. I think just like that millisecond disconnect between him reacting to what my inputs in the cyclic were to him doing whatever needed to be done with the pedals and the collective, and that little delay threw me off. But having all three, like, I already know what they should be doing anyways. Like, instinctively, as I'm raising the collective, I'm adding more pedal. I'm lowering the collective. You're keeping it straight for the most part. I'm not really taking away that much more torque, but usually lower the pedal. Let's skid on this rock. That's a hard one. I don't think I've really done one skid balancing. Yeah, it's I don't want to say it was significantly easier, but it felt much easier when I had all three controls. Where are you at, Rock? So you didn't have a hitbox there on that side. Oh, we're coming back for you. We'll go more to the left. Welcome to the world's most exciting helicopter stream where Matt one skid hovers a rock and smashes his belly into it. Yeah, I'm going down way too far there. It's not picking me up there. Strange. Let's go more forward. Because the skid's slightly further back. I'm watching out my window. The skid's really like right there. So this is a game I can't see where my skid is. Now we're sitting on a rock. Definitely weird. I feel like that might be easier in real life, honestly. Okay, here's a Parliamenty building. It looks like there's space to fly through, so we'll give it a shot. If not, you know, sorry. Or whatever. I see the spike, though. Oh, yeah, we're good. As long as there's no hitboxes, we're Gucci. I'm sure they love that here. So yeah, this is where oppression happens in the country of Australia. Did I just fly over the middle of that box there and not land there? That just looks like a perfect helipad. Too busy playing with a fucking rock. What an idiot. Yeah, this definitely looks like a place that I shouldn't be landing. Is that going to stop me, though? No. Ping pot. A little to the right. But I feel like I'm centered up with this, but the fountain's offset because of the satellite. Let's cope. Anyways, that, though it's a shorter day, I've been up forever, and I got to disclose my secret that I've technically started helicopter training, and it went way better than I expected because of, what the hell is this? Victor Hotel Foxtrot, Oscar Foxtrot. Looks like it might be, the G1S15, isn't that a 44 or something? Either way, it went really, really good. We're going to call it a night tonight, though, because I'm sleepy, and I want to have a snack, and I want to go to bed. We'll fly down here. We'll do a very confined quick stop. I hope that there's no floating artifacts that kill me. Stop on the red. Is that parkable up here? Oh, spikes and shit. Can I stop on this red or not? Yeah, I think I can. I don't know what it is though. Ooh, I wonder if I can park on the table. So we're going to try to do. This will be our ending, if I can park on the table or not. I think it's wide enough, or just the balance. It floored a lot more than I expect. We go through it? Oh, that sucks. I wanted to balance on something. Oh well, we'll land on the red like I originally planned. Can I tail this side? Yeah, we'll go sideways on the red. Why is it so crooked? There's nothing here. Anyways, throttle down. Georgia Planesmite, you got here just in time for me to say bye. Been up for a long time today. I want to get out of here. But yes, I did fly a helicopter today. As soon as I was given all 3 controls, I was able to hover it fine. I was a little bit wiggly when I was just doing the collective, or sorry, just doing the cyclic. Because I'm so used to all my inputs being linked together. But as soon as I got all 3, I was able to hover pretty easily. And we did flying. If you want to go back to the beginning of the stream, not telling you to go back and rewatch, but if you're interested, you can. Oh, okay. If you want to go back to the beginning, I kind of do an exact replay of what I mean, like literally exact replay of the entire everything. But yeah, I'm super sleepy tonight, so we're calling it a night. But yeah, did my first flight today. I figure I want to go ahead and get the initial addiction started, because if I just kept waiting, I nearly crashed 5 times. Probably nearly crashed a lot. He just didn't say anything. Good thing it's not around the world day. Oh yeah, dude, I'm fucking... Wasn't gonna do today. Today was gonna be basically a water crossing, just all sand. But yeah, you can go back and watch that replay. Oh yeah, I wanted to do me and Tom were gonna look at. Let me get back to this, so we can look at the range things. So 130 would be option for tomorrow. So we'll put it on the 130 with max fuel. Let's see what she says. Yeah, flight went great. Went in and told him, I was like, hey, look, I want to get out of film. This is going to be my exit out of film. I've been doing helicopter online ground school, so I'd like to think I'm paper, like studied up on paper, you know. Where the fuck are we? Birdsville? I could type it in, but I'm not going to. Birdsville. It's a departure, and we're going up to Alice Springs, which is right on the edge. So we could do 130. Yeah, sure you didn't know. I was just gonna hop in the 160 tomorrow. I wonder what the 145's range looks like. But yeah, so I went and told, I was like, hey, I want to do this, you know. And although I want to do a discovery flight, I want it to be more of like a 1 hour lesson / discovery. He was like, okay, cool. We can kind of like intro you into hovering, kind of let you fly pattern a bit, whatever. At 145, I mean, it gets us there. But I think we might have to play Fairy Tank just as the option. Either way, if we have winds in our favor, it might work out fine. But yeah, I told him, yeah, I would much rather be humbled by my inability to fly than go home thinking like, oh man, well, we didn't try this, so maybe I could have done this. So I was like, if you can give me all 3 controls at some point and let me either sink or swim, you know, like that would be great. And then, like I said, I was kind of wiggly at first when I just had the cyclic and he was doing the pedals and collective. Because I did pedals first, then collective, and then he came to the cyclic last. So when I just had the cyclic, a bit wiggly. Adios, dude. See ya. But yeah, once I had all 3, it was good. But yeah, distance-wise, we're good to make it up here to Alice. The only thing is it's close. So with it being close, I think we play a Fairy Tank contingency. Yeah, like a gas tank. Gas can. Because I know sometimes when people are doing the longer around the world flights, they actually have an extra fuel bladder that they keep with them. So they're doing a long crossing when there's like no guarantee of fuel between A and B. They have their Fairy Tank there. So we'll play with a contingency for a Fairy Tank. But yeah, we're going to call it a day. I've been busy. Hope everybody had a good one. It's Friday. Saturday for the Australians in the crowd. But yeah, thanks everybody for being here. I will get to you guys on the next one, and we'll do a Birdsville to Alice Springs. Until then.